Why did Superman dump Lois Lane for Wonder Woman? He wanted to date someone in the same league. Hey, thanks for stopping by my YouTube channel today for Comic Book Editions Volume 116. The rain is falling outside. It's not going to stop us from sharing part 2 of the books that I picked up at a comic book show in Madison, Wisconsin last weekend. That was such a fun time, and I talked a lot about that and showed a little footage from the show in last week's video, where I also shared the Marvel comic book haul that I picked up. In today's video, I'm going to share with you the DC Comics haul that I picked up at that show. I also had the chance to meet Jimmy, the geek aficionado, and I had a great time hanging out with him. He's such a cool guy, and I talked a little bit more about that in last week's video. So if you missed that, make sure to go back and catch that on the rewind. If you're new to my channel, I hope you take this opportunity to subscribe, and clicking the notification bell instantly informs you when new content is added to the channel. So let's get started. I gave you a little sneak preview of this book being added to my collection. It's Adventure Comics number 382 because I featured it as the back issue of the week this week. Back issue of the week is a short that I do on my YouTube channel where I spend 60 seconds kind of talking about a specific book, tell you a little bit about the story and the creators and the year it came out. So if you haven't checked that out or want to learn more about this issue, that's the place to really dig into and find out about it. I love doing the back issue of the week. I have so much fun doing those. This issue is only the second issue of Adventure Comics to feature Supergirl as a headliner. The previous issue was the very first time in any comic book she was featured as a headliner. So I've been trying to work on my Supergirl Adventure Comics run, and I haven't been doing that good of a job on it, to be honest with you. So at least to be able to chip another book off of that is good. I think this is the first book I've gotten off of the run this year. So yeah, I've really been slacking on that. But I did find another book to chip away at that run too. This is Adventure Comics number 424, and this is the final issue of Adventure Comics to feature Supergirl as a headliner. Now, the art and the stories really kind of have evolved from the beginning of her headlining status to the end of her headlining status. I personally prefer the end of her headlining status much better. So at least I've gotten two. Like I said, there's maybe about 25 or so that I need in that Supergirl run yet to complete the collection. After this issue, the next month, she would get her very own title, Supergirl number 1. And I really enjoyed that series. It was very short-lived, though. I think it lasted 10 issues, so didn't last long at all. And then she merged into Superman Family. So hopefully I can still get a few more Supergirls this year. I don't see me completing that full run yet, but anytime you get the chance to chip away, I just think it's a good thing to do. So happy to have this one. I did get some more Adventure Comics, even though Supergirl wasn't the headliner in it. This is Adventure Comics number 449. Aquaman is the headliner. He took over headlining in Adventure Comics after the DC implosion and his Bronze Age reboot got canceled. This is a cover I'd always been curious about. I thought it was a good cover. So when I saw the opportunity to buy this, I didn't want to pass it up. This story and the next issue that I'm about to show you also has a backup feature story with the Martian Manhunter, John Jones. So I'm hoping that those will be some good stories for me to check out as well. As I've always said, I don't think I've met a Bronze Age comic book that I haven't enjoyed. So this next Adventure comic book is issue number 450, and I love this cover. I think Weather Wizard is a cool villain. Interesting with him taking on Aquaman. I associate Weather Wizard more as a Flash villain. Although I do remember back in the Bronze Age, I had this huge, giant size coloring book. It wasn't a normal size coloring book. It was massive. And it was Wonder Woman versus the Weather Wizard. I think I had 2 of them, and I think I colored in every page on both of them. I wish I could find a nice, clean copy of that fell into my budget, but you don't even hardly see those on eBay anymore either. So that would bring back some memories. I remember that cover was fantastic. Anyway, getting back to this story, we got a great yellow cover, but it was always the cover that intrigued me, with Mera being grabbed by the hair by the Weather Wizard and Aquaman swimming in, about to stop it and meeting some resistance there. So I haven't read this one yet, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. This next book, look at this. You can't really tell by the trade dress, but if I'm remembering correctly, it's DC Special Series issue number 10. And here we got the secret origins of Light Ray, everybody's favorite DC comic superhero. Who is that? But we also have Dr. Fate in here and Black Canary. And I believe the Black Canary story is a reprint, a retelling of Justice League 73 and 74, if I'm remembering correctly, or it's 74 and 75, where she travels from Earth 2 into Earth 1. Of course, they would later retcon that time in a story that's kind of confusing even to explain now, that when she traveled over from Earth 1 to Earth 2, it actually was her daughter that came to Earth 1, the daughter that nobody knew she had. They were trying to explain why this Golden Age character still looked as young as she did, and trying to say it was the daughter who had the mother's memories and didn't even know it herself. And yeah, it's confusing. Sometimes you just have to roll with it. This is a book that's kind of been a little bit on my range, my lookout for maybe pick up sometime, and the price was definitely right. The price on this and the price on any of the books that you see in today's video and the ones you saw last week are not what I paid. So everything was half price of the prices posted here. So can't go wrong with that, can you? Nope. Another book that I haven't dug into yet, but certainly I'm looking forward to it. So speaking of Black Canary, I'm a BC fan, and I've been working on the Green Lantern comic books where Green Arrow and Black Canary were part of the issue. Sometimes they had their own separate backup stories, and sometimes they were issues with all three characters doing an adventure or a story together. This is volume 2 of Green Arrow. It's issue number 108. Now, I had issue number 109 as a child and loved it so much. The cover got detached from it. I remember looking through that thing nonstop, all the pages, all the time. And just a couple years ago, I finally replaced that and upgraded a copy, which is not an expensive book at all. But I never had the issue before. I don't think I had the issue after. So now that I have the issue before, at some point I need to go and work on getting the issue after. So just to, kind of bookmark that very special memory I have of that comic book from my childhood. See, I know a lot of folks that when they buy comic books, or if a story continues, they're not going to start reading it until they have all the pieces in place. I was never like that. I just read whatever I could get my hands on, and if I didn't have the full story then, I would just read, and I'm still like this as an adult. I just read what I have at the time, and I'll piece it in, the rest in sometimes. So, and sometimes, you get spoilers and you know how the story ends before you've really read the complete story, but I guess I just grew up that way, so that's kind of my comic book reading habit that I developed as a young childhood collector. I don't know if it's a good habit to have or a bad habit to have, but it's what I have. So if you're like that as well, I'd love to know in the comment section below, so make sure to drop me a comment. Here's another Green Lantern book that I have. It's issue number 112. So a few things about this book. So we have an Alan Scott backup story in this issue as well. And this is the first time that the green flame of life, which powers Alan Scott's power ring, is admitted to having a connection with the Guardians of the Universe. So the meteor was a piece of the Star Heart, which had traveled from Earth 1 to Earth 2. In this story, Green Arrow refuses to look at the main antagonist. It's Queen Emla, M''L''A, Emla. So he refuses to look at Emla due to her beauty, and her face is never shown on the interior of the comic either. So you never actually see her face. So that's a little bit different, and it's kind of neat in a way too. This story that's in this issue, according to a future issue Green Lantern letter column, was originally planned for a Green Lantern special that ended up getting canceled because of the DC implosion. If you don't know what the DC implosion is, you probably hear me talk about it pretty frequently. You can find other videos on YouTube about what caused the implosion, what was the implosion, what was the after effects of the implosion. So I just know that I end up referencing the DC implosion frequently on my channel. I always wonder what kind of would have happened if the implosion hadn't happened, but it is what it is. I started out the video by making a Lois Lane reference joke. I do have a Lois Lane comic book to share. It's Superman's Girlfriend, Lois Lane, issue number 110. There's Lois there with her papoose. I think Silver Hair Bronze Age Babe was talking about this book, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to kind of get some of the later issues of Lois Lane. I'm almost trying to collect her series backwards, I think. And while I'm not going issue by issue backwards, I'm kind of, focusing more in this range right now, or some of the issues that I need. But I really have found that I really enjoy the Rose and Thorn backup stories that are in Lois Lane. The Lois Lane stories are okay, and they're fine, especially the later ones. They're much more easy to digest than some of this Silver Age silliness that you get at the beginning of the run. But the Rose and Thorns I thought were really good, and the more I read those, the more entertained I get by those. So with this being a book that I didn't have, and the condition being pretty nice on it, I decided now was the time to scoop that one up. So this next book is one that I have in my collection already, and I've shared with you. I just decided to get an upgraded copy of it. And it's Volume 1 of Teen Titans. This is issue number 36. The one that I had was just in a little bit lower grade, and I'm getting close to being able to wrap up Volume 1. My goal is to have wrapped up Volume 1 before the end of this year, and I think that's a very doable goal. I have some books that are on hold. I just need to ship them out, and then I have maybe one more left to purchase, and I'll be taken care of. So you're going to be seeing some more Teen Titans Silver Age in future comic book editions videos here on my channel. So this is a big old double-sized 48-page issue. There are 3 original stories on here and then 1 reprint. The reprint is Superboy meets Robin the Boy Wonder. That was originally printed in a Silver Age Adventure Comics. I think it was issue number 253 if I'm not mistaken. Now, the Teenager from Nowhere story, which is focused on Lilith, is focused back when the character Lilith was 13 years old. And the Girl of the Shadows, which is an Aqualad themed story, was slated as a backup for the unpublished Aquaman issue number 57. But then the series was discontinued and the story was placed here instead. Because Aquaman jumped over to Adventure Comics, as I was talking about previously, with the DC implosion. So it's all coming full circle here. But yeah, so as I said again, to repeat myself, much more Silver Age DC Comics coming this year on Comic Book Editions video on my YouTube channel. So if you're a Titans fan, hang tight. And I already know what the last book is from the series that I need to get. I just need to get it yet. And then get the ones that I've already ordered and paid for just shipped out. So yeah. Also, one that I want to share with you now is World's Finest issue number 258. Now look at this cover. Isn't that a cool cover? Yeah, that is pretty cool. So I like this run of World's Finest. I like some of the characters that are represented here. Once again, we have Green Arrow, and when there's Green Arrow, you also get a lot of Black Canary usually. So that's a good thing. I like Hawkman because when there's Hawkman, there's Hawkwoman, or sometimes at the time she's Hawkgirl. This issue marks the time that Green Arrow, Oliver Queen, becomes a newspaper columnist beginning with this issue. I don't remember that at all as part of this DC Comics story. I just remember him being like a rich guy, like almost Bruce Wayne rich. I remember him being a newspaper columnist. So something else interesting about this. So at the end of this series, or at the end of this issue, I should say, they say that the book is going to go back to a monthly title because it was bi-monthly at the time. But at the end, they make an announcement that the book is going back to a monthly title and it's going to revert to 40 cents instead of the big dollar format with all of the extra stories. But that didn't happen. Why it didn't happen, I don't know. But the book stayed bi-monthly and it stayed in the dollar format for several more issues. So I don't know what changed plans there. Here's some Silver Age Justice League, and you know that I'm really working on my Justice League Volume 1 collection. Metamorpho Says No, the name of this story. Issue number 42 from Volume 1. I know that this is very low grade. It's okay. I paid hardly any money at all for this. So At least for now, it's going to suffice to be into the collection. Metamorpho is the first person who has offered membership to the Justice League that turned it down. I used that as a trivia question once on Fanboys Live in the Retro Review. But just to remind you that it's true. So all of the books that I've shown you to this point from last week and up until this book today, I all got from the same seller at this comic show in Madison, Wisconsin. I have one more book that I want to show you today, and I got that from another dealer. So you see that I got a pretty good haul from one dealer. But there was a dealer for $5, another low grade. Roy wrote his name on the cover. Roy, I'm going to find you. I'm going to hunt you down, and we're going to have a conversation about that. Justice League of America number 25. For $5 for a Silver Age, even though it's low grade, I can get behind that. And I did. So 2 more off the Justice League Volume 1 hunt list that I need. Now, I don't anticipate, getting down to and completing this run yet this year. But if I can get all the books I need to under issue 100, that would be cool. And I think that might be doable. So, but at the same time too, I can plan that as a goal. But books come into your life, as I said, when they feel like it. So, and sometimes you got to take advantage of it. I haven't in the past. Sometimes I'm like, well, I'm not ready to buy this book at this time. And then it doesn't come back, or it doesn't come back in the price range that you need it to. So sometimes when they come into your life, even if it's not necessarily the plan, you just have to take advantage of it. What was your favorite book that I showed today? I would love to know that in the comment section below. As I said, if you're new to the channel and haven't subscribed yet, I hope that you'll take this opportunity to subscribe. It's a great way to show support to the channel. Sharing this video, sharing my channel with someone that you think might enjoy it, it's another great way to show support. Give the video a heart, a thumbs up. I love that. Love your comments. Love to interact with you about anything and everything, as your comments are always welcomed, appreciated, and encouraged. So let me tell you what's coming up on my channel. I have a DC Comics themed cover by video dropping this Friday on my channel. Of course, this upcoming weekend will be another Fanboys Live in the Retro Review, and if I'm remembering correctly, it's on my channel again this weekend. So look for live on Sunday evening. That's in the future. Next week we'll have another one of those back issue of the weeks. I have an A-OK to pick up at the post office from Varangian Vigilante. So all the way from Austria to the United States, VV has shipped something to me, and that's probably going to be next week's Comic Book Editions video. But I also have an A-OK to open up and unbox from my friend Seeking Superman. So that's going to be cool to open up. There was another comic show that I went to this past weekend and picked up just a few books too. So I want to share those with you. All of that is coming up in the future here on my YouTube channel. Thanks again for all of your support, encouragement, and friendship. It does mean the world to me. I always say, and I'm going to keep reiterating this to you, I couldn't do this without you, nor would I want to. Have a fantastic rest of your week. I'll see you soon. Take care.